Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order when you check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Sports Pictorium Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. If he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL helmet poster. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Qualifying for and playing in the Masters is a huge accomplishment. Of course, playing on the PGA Tour is a huge accomplishment. To have the talent to play in Major League Baseball is incredible. Think about all the dreams that die in the minor leagues. Now, think about the talent one must possess to play in the majors, play in the World Series, play on the PGA Tour, and to qualify for the Masters. Only one man has ever done so. And next, on Sports Forgotten Heroes, we're going to talk about that guy, Sam Byrd. Hello and welcome to Sports Forgotten Heroes, episode number 119, Sam Byrd. What an incredible story. What an amazing career. Not only did he play in the majors, he was Babe Ruth's backup. He played for the New York Yankees, was solid off the bench, did well when he got a chance to start, played for 6 seasons with the Yankees and 2 with the Cincinnati Reds. He was a career .274 hitter, slugged 38 dingers over the course of his career, and had he played for a different team, he might have been a full-time starter. However, if that had happened, perhaps Sam would have never realized his second career, that of being a professional golfer on the PGA Tour, where he became the first and only man in history to play in the Masters after having appeared in a baseball World Series. And Sam wasn't just some novelty who made it by the skin of his teeth. No, he was good. He won 11 times on the tour. In the 1945 PGA Championship, he made it to the finals when the PGA was a match play event. He made it against Byron Nelson, losing 4-3, and to his credit, he won the Greater Greensboro Open, the Chicago Victory National Open, the Texas Open where he beat Nelson by 1 stroke, and he also won on the Senior PGA Tour. A remarkable career on the golf course. And on the baseball diamond, he also had some pretty amazing highlights. And joining me today on Sports Forgotten Heroes to talk about Sam is Stephen Rice, who penned a terrific bio about Byrd for the Saber Bio Project. A lot of research went into this bio, and for those who don't know, the Saber Bio Project is a massive undertaking by the Society of Baseball Research, where the goal is to have a bio written about as many baseball players as possible. Today, there are thousands. Now, before I get to my conversation with Stephen, just a few friendly reminders. Please follow Sports Forgotten Heroes on Twitter at SportsFHeroes. Look for the Sports Forgotten Heroes page on Facebook. Check out the website, sportsfh.com. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please give Sports Forgotten Heroes a 5-star rating. And if you're feeling up to it, please write a short review as well. If you want to get in touch with me, please email at sportsfh.info@gmail.com. That's sportsfh.info@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for your support. Hey, one last note. For more sports history, please check out the Sports History Network, of which Sports Forgotten Heroes is a proud member. That's the sportshistorynetwork.com. Okay, now let's get into today's show about Sam Byrd with my guest, Stephen Rice. And joining me now on Sports Forgotten Heroes is Stephen Rice. Steve, welcome to the podcast. Hey, man, really interested in Sam Byrd. He's quite the interesting topic because when you think of two sport stars, most of the time you would think of guys like a Deion Sanders, who was so good in baseball and football, and Bo Jackson, who
Sam
is the
Byrd
poster
grew up
boy
in
for
Birmingham, Alabama,
for two sports stars.
and his
But there are
family
many
lived
others.
beside
Dave DeBusschere
the
comes to
Roebuck
mind,
Golf
and
Course
Danny
in
Ainge
Birmingham.
played
And
baseball for
that
the
golf
Blue
course is
Jays and
still there,
basketball
still
for the
operating
Celtics.
today.
Brian Jordan,
And
Ernie
so
Nevers,
as a
Gene
boy,
Conley.
he caddied at the
They
golf
all
course.
played in
Like
two
other
major
boys his
professional
age, he was
sport
interested
leagues.
in baseball and played
But then
baseball.
there's
He also
Sam
played
Byrd.
basketball.
Tell us
But
about
naturally, he learned to
who
play
Sam
golf
was and what
became
makes his
proficient at it,
story
I
so
imagine, at
unique.
quite a young age. But he pursued baseball when he had an opportunity to go pro with the Birmingham Barons of the Southern Association minor league team. And this was in the mid 1920s. He rose up through the ranks and eventually became part of the New York Yankees organization. Well, he still maintained his interest in golf during this time, but at this point, his bread and butter, his ticket appeared to be baseball. The good news is he joined a great team. The bad news is he joined a great team. In other words, he couldn't break into the starting lineup. And there were newspaper writers at the time who observed that, hey, this Sammy Byrd is a heck of a player, but he's sitting on the bench for the Yankees because he can't crack the starting outfield. He was an excellent fielder. He was speedy. He hit for a good average. And he made a very good backup, a substitute, a fill-in, a defensive replacement, a pinch runner, all of the things you like to have on your team.
Yeah.
And
you're not kidding.
He got paid well. He was part of these famous teams of the New York Yankees from, let me get the years right, from 1929 to 1934. And this was also the era when Lou Gehrig starred, but most notably Babe Ruth. And this was near the end of Babe Ruth's career. So Babe Ruth, often he would get sick or he would be out too late the night before and have a bellyache, and they needed somebody to fill in for him. And so often near the end of Babe Ruth's career, he was replaced late in the game with a defensive replacement in the outfield, and that was Sammy Byrd. And this happened so often that Sammy Byrd was nicknamed Babe Ruth's legs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was his meal ticket. But what he found as a major league ball player is golf was very popular with the major leaguers and with Babe Ruth in particular. And so whenever the Yankees would have a chance, this was probably more often possible during
he
spring
was
training,
really
they would
good,
go off and play
obviously,
golf.
in both
And Babe Ruth
golf
loved to
and
play golf, and most
baseball.
people
And
would have
you said
said
basically
Babe Ruth was
he chose
one of the best
baseball over
golfers
golf
among
because
major
sure he
leaguers,
could
but
make
he wasn't as
a
good
better
as Sammy
living. Would
Byrd.
that be accurate?
So it's kind of humorous. So Byrd was considered Babe Ruth's understudy in the Yankee outfield, but on the golf course, Ruth was second fiddle to Byrd.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Ruth wasn't second fiddle to many people in just about anything, but wow, second fiddle to his second fiddle is saying something.
He was a reserve.
Let's look at
would have called
Sam's
him a reserve outfielder
baseball career. Let's start there.
and pinch hitter.
Overall, he hit
He
274.
he really
for
only
his
became a
career.
starter that
Had a
first
modest
year after he
38
left the
home
Yankees
runs,
when he went
220
to the Cincinnati
RBIs.
Reds in
Was a heck of a defensive
1935.
ball player. He started his career,
And
like you said, in
he'd waited a
1929
long
with
time
the
for his
Yankees,
chance
and he ended his
to
career in
to
1936
become a
with the
starter in the
Cincinnati
Yankees
Reds.
outfield. And
How
fate
would
somehow
you
was against it
classify the
because
baseball
in
career of Sam
1935,
Byrd?
let me get the dates right. I'm checking my notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, I
I think it
imagine
was
he was
32. I think
frustrated
that's
by
where you're
it.
going to go.
Um,
In
but
32, he got his
he
break. I mean,
was
first of all,
a
it
good-natured
wasn't just
guy.
Babe Ruth. I
He
mean,
understood
Earl
his role on
Combs
the
and Bob
team.
Musial
He
and Ben
filled
Chapman. These were the
that
guys that
backup
Sam
role
Byrd
quite well,
had
so
to
they kept
beat
him
out to
for that
get into the
role.
starting lineup
Um,
of the New York Yankees as an
he
outfielder. How does a
I think
guy
he was
get a
popular
fair
with his
shot
teammates. He's
at
relatively
breaking into the
soft-spoken
lineup
individual, I
when you're
believe.
sharing the same locker room with
Um,
those guys? It
and
had to weigh on him.
what
It had to be
what the
somewhat
irony is
frustrating.
when he finally went to the Reds, actually it was in December of 1934 when his contract was purchased by the Cincinnati Reds. Now the Reds were a terrible team at that time. And so Sam Byrd was acquired to become a starting outfielder on the 1935 Reds. So finally he gets to be a starter. Well, 2 months after the Reds acquired him, Babe Ruth was released by the Yankees.
Hmm.
He was washed up. And even more ironic is the very day that the Cincinnati Reds acquired his contract in December of 1934 was the day the Yankees made a trade with the San Francisco Seals of the Pacific Coast League to acquire Joe DiMaggio. So the Yankees had their the Yankees had their next great outfielder coming. So I don't know that Byrd would have gotten much opportunity with the Yankees, but
Wow.
he,
Wow.
go ahead. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So he almost broke through into the starting lineup and briefly did in April of 1932. He
But
had this amazing
he was going to get
spring
he was
where
going to
he
get
was
an
hitting home
opportunity
runs,
though.
more
I
home
think it was
runs
in
than Babe Ruth.
1932. He
Unbelievable.
got his big
And
break,
he
and
so he started
he
in
had a
center field
fantastic spring,
from April
and
12th
they
to
gave
April
him the
23rd
center
of
field job, the starting
1932. He hit
job as the center fielder
389
for the
with
Yankees.
4 home
He got
runs in
off to a
8
pretty
games.
torrid start.
But he ran
Tell us
into
about
some
that
health problems.
spring
He had
and
sinus
how he
problems
started that season.
and he ended up back on the bench. Um, Now he returned to the starting lineup in September of that year for 15 games. Briefly, I guess when one of the regulars was injured, and again he excelled, hit 343 in that stretch. The Yankees won the pennant, but their starting outfield in the World Series was Babe Ruth, Earl Combs, and Ben Chapman. And Sammy Byrd got to play in the last inning of the last game as a defensive replacement for Ruth in the outfield. So he made a token appearance. But that was enough for him later when he became a pro golfer and competed in the Masters. He is still today the only man to have appeared in the World Series and played golf in the famous Masters tournament.
Yeah, it's such
I
a
didn't
unique
see any evidence
combination,
of that.
uh,
Um,
excelling
the
in golf and
so so
excelling in
after the 1 year
baseball.
with the Reds, in which he
But
was a
you
starter,
just gotta
even the
sit
Reds
there and think to
moved
yourself,
him to a
this
backup
guy
role
had so much
in
talent as a
1936.
baseball
And
player,
then
and
they
he
traded
couldn't break
him
through.
to
And
the
you're
St.
saying
Louis
he was a very
Cardinals organization
soft-spoken person.
who wanted
I
to
just
demote
wonder
him to the Rochester
how
Red Wings,
much,
Rochester, New York team of the
if he
International
ever
League.
expressed
Well,
any
Byrd at this
displeasure
point
with
decided,
his situation
I'm
as
not
a
going to do
baseball
that.
player.
Now's my time. I'm going to pursue pro golf. And he had been told by top golfers of that era, Bobby Jones, Tommy Armour, famous names, that if he focused on golf, he could be a successful pro golfer. So this was his chance finally. When baseball kind of gave up on him, he decided he was going to pursue professional golf. And he didn't hit it big on the pro golf circuit immediately. But by 1941, he was competing at the highest level. And he finished third in the Masters in 1941 and fourth
Hmm.
in 1942.
Yeah, before we get into all that though, let's just head back to the baseball diamond for
Okay,
a moment.
he
So he
definitely was
plays
playing golf during
29,
those early
30,
years of his career,
31,
and he would go out with
32
Babe Ruth and other
with the
Yankees,
Yankees.
go
He was
golfing
a
whenever
major
they
league
could.
reserve
But he
for
wasn't
4
golfing enough
years
to
before
um,
I
really
guess
hone
he
his
got
game.
the golf
His
itch.
first
Um,
his first
during those 4
pro
years, did you
golfing
find
tournament, professional tournament, was
any
at Pinehurst,
evidence
North
that he
Carolina
was
in November
still
1933.
working on his
So
golf
that
game,
was
working
perhaps
on
when
his
he
golf
was
swing,
ready to
and
put his
during the
toe in
off
the
season,
water
or
and
for
say,
that matter, during
let
the
me see
season,
how I
was
can
he
do
playing in any tournaments?
against the pros. And that December, the pros, they gasped at his 300-yard tee shots. They were amazed. And Tommy Armour, Armour, famous golfer of the era, he said, I believe he can hit a Byrd can hit a golf ball as far as anyone now living. And I also believe with a little more chance to play and practice, he would be one of the true stars of the game. So that's the encouragement he got near the end of 1933. But he wasn't ready to give up on baseball until after the 1936 season, when he got traded to the Cardinals organization. They wanted to send him to the minors. He didn't want to go to the minors. The Cardinals said, well,
Right.
we'll keep you as a bench player on the major league team. No, he didn't want to do that anymore. It was time to try a career in professional golf.
Hmm. Well, in that 33 tournament, where Jones said the guy could hit the ball, a
He might
mile,
have been.
and
He might have
Armour
been.
said he could hit it farther than anyone.
So we
Armour
look
also
at his
said
ages
that he had
during
one of the
those
most
years he played for the
beautiful
Yankees.
or best golf swings he
He
had
played
ever
for the
seen.
Yankees from age
So
21 to 26.
what I'm
So
wondering
those are pretty,
is,
prime years for
is there
up
any
and coming pro
evidence, or did you
golfers.
ever read anything
Um,
besides those quotes
and so he wasn't
from
really
Jones and
developing
Armour,
as a pro
which
golfer
could be enough
at that
evidence
time.
that had
So
Sam played golf
yeah, maybe,
instead of baseball,
maybe by
could
splitting
he have
his
been one of the
attention
best to play golf
between
during
baseball and
that
golf,
time?
he didn't get to be a real star in either. But I think he made up for it after his baseball career, because he did, by the early 40s, he was considered one of the top golfers.
Yeah, no doubt, about it. So
Yeah.
going again back to 33, he
hmm
tries his hand at playing professional golf, but
Well,
he goes
it
back
was
to the Yankees
getting
after
a
the
good
golf season.
salary from the Yankees.
It had
It
to
was
have
hard to
been
pass that
really
up.
only
Um,
about the
I
money,
remember
because
I
I
remember
can't
reading
imagine that
quotes
if
from
you have
Byrd
the
in
kind
which
of
he
potential that he
compared
had for
the difference
the
between
golf tour, for
being a
hitting a golf
pro
ball,
baseball player and a pro
why would
golfer.
you elect to
And
go back and play
he said the
baseball
pressure
and
on a
ride
pro
the
golfer is
pine
much, much greater.
as
Much, much
opposed
greater.
to going out
He
and
said, as a
and
pro baseball player, you have all your
starring on the
teammates.
tour
Now, he
and
was blessed with
making a
these
name for
tremendous
yourself that
teammates
way.
on the Yankees. But the point I think he was trying to make was as a pro golfer, you're a team of one. And whether you're going to make any money on a tournament, it sits squarely on your shoulders. So there was no, you had no guaranteed salary. You had to do well enough in the tournament to earn a paycheck. And so, he felt the pressure of that situation. And I think it's probably was easier to
no doubt.
To get a good salary from the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the Yankees, after the 1934 season, his sixth with the Yankees, in which he hit 281 overall, he finally got his break when Cincinnati purchased
the
his
Reds,
contract.
I guess,
He
were
went
like
to the
the
Reds,
Yankees in that
and he became a full-time player. Listen to
they
these
felt
numbers.
they never had enough
Played in
outfielders.
121 games.
They were always trying to
He
acquire more.
came to the plate. Well, he had 416
his time
at
as a
bats,
starter
hit 9 home runs,
was relatively
knocked
short.
in 52.
And this
he
this
hit
was
262
in part
overall.
due to the fact
he was a solid
that the Reds
ball
acquired a future
How
Hall of
was that
Famer,
first
Kai
season with the
Kyler,
Reds, and how was he accepted there,
as
and how
another outfielder
how
for the team.
did he play?
And so that eventually that cut into Byrd's playing time in the outfield when Kyler joined the team.
Yeah, it's really amazing because Byrd had a decent season with the Reds in 1935. And I guess the Reds, and he wasn't that old. I mean, he was all of 27 years old in 1935. So he's in the prime of his career. He's finally getting a shot. The disappointment at this point must have been, there had to have been disappointment. He gets a chance to play, and it's not like he didn't play well. And then in 36, he only appears in 59 games, hits 248
So, yes,
with
indeed.
2 home runs and 13 ribbies.
So it was the
and
bottom
after
of
that
the ninth
season, that's
in
when he
Cincinnati,
goes on.
and the Reds were trailing the
Reds
Pittsburgh Pirates 3-0.
Leaves the Reds for the Cardinals.
And the bases were
Cardinals
loaded.
wanted to mow him, and he says,
and the Reds manager, Chuck Dressen,
But
sent Byrd
before
in to
he
pinch
went to
hit.
the Cardinals, He did
And
have
the
a
very
couple
first
of
pitch from the Pirates
pretty big
hurler, Cy
highlights,
Blanton,
and one heck of a
Byrd
night
hit a home
on
run.
May
So
23rd,
this isn't any old home run.
1936. If
This
I
is a
got this
grand
right,
slam.
he did
It was
something
it was a
that no
walk-off grand
player had
slam,
ever done
bottom of the
before him.
ninth.
Can
So
you tell
the
us
score
about
went
that?
from 3-0 deficit to 4-3 dramatic victory for the Reds. And the baseball historians call this rare event of a grand slam to win the game in the bottom of the ninth an ultimate grand slam. And I guess you can't really, I mean, you can't argue with that term. It does seem like the ultimate. He was the first pinch hitter. He was the first to pinch hit an ultimate grand slam in Major League history that day, May 23rd, 1936.
Wow.
Well, there were times when he got to start a game here or there, and he shined. When he let me see if I can find the example here
That's
in my
a
notes.
heck of a story.
Um,
Did he have any other
in
particular
his
highlights?
rookie season
You
in
know, it's
1929,
tough for a reserve player and a
he
guy who
filled
only
in
really gets an
for a
opportunity
sick Babe
to
Ruth
play full time for one
for
season over the
about
course of 8 years.
17-day
But
period.
were there any other
And he hit
highlights during his
321. He
baseball
made only
career
one
that
error
stick
and
out?
40 chances in right field. And there was one game against the Chicago White Sox. Sports writer Irving Vaughn praised Byrd's fielding in right field and noted that it was quite an upgrade over Babe Ruth's fielding. Vaughn wrote, on 3 occasions, Byrd flagged drives that the ponderous Babe would have been forced to welcome on the first hop. So yeah, Byrd was Babe Ruth's legs out there defensively helping the Yankees in the late innings.
You know, Steve, I can't help but think to myself, and I'm sure without a doubt that it's happened to other ball players, they get stuck behind someone or a couple of guys, and they just never get the opportunity to really go out and prove themselves and establish
Yeah, the
themselves
stats
as
of a
solid
backup
baseball
generally
players
you're going to
who
see
could have
lower batting
contributed
averages
so
because
much
they're not
more
playing
and
regularly. It's hard to
perhaps
stay
even
sharp.
become an all-star
And
player,
yet he
but they
still
never get
had
the
good
shot.
batting averages for
And
the
when you
Yankees.
read about Sam
And when he
Byrd
got to
and look
play
about the
regularly
numbers that he put
for
up
spans of
and the
say 2
players
weeks at
that
a time,
he
yeah,
played
he was hitting
behind,
320,
and
330.
again, going back to those numbers
That
that he
that's
put
as good
up
as you could hope
when
for.
given the opportunity to play every day, you got to sit there and scratch your head and go, man, this guy could have been so much more. No
Yeah,
doubt.
I think he had been thinking about that transition
After that
probably
35
for
season, or I'm
2 or
sorry, the
3 years.
36 season, as you said
Um,
before,
that was one of his
uh,
goals, to
uh,
give pro golf a
the
try,
Reds gave up
focus
on
on
him,
that.
shipped him off to St. Louis,
And so
and the
maybe he was
Cardinals
waiting
were
for
going
the
to
right
put him
opportunity
down
when
to the
his
minors. Was
Major
it at
League
that
Baseball
point,
opportunity
at
was
the age of
coming to an end.
28, when
That
Byrd
was
said,
his
you know what,
time to
I've had enough of
make
being a
that
reserve
move.
ball player.
And when the
I'm just
Cardinals
not going to get
when
a
the
shot,
Cardinals heard that he
and
didn't want to
I'm
go
going
to
to
the
go give
minors,
golf a try
Branch
full
Rickey,
time.
who
Is that really what happened? He just said, you know
brought
what,
Jackie
I've had my
Robinson to the big
time
leagues
sitting on
in
the bench.
1947. Branch Rickey was running the Cardinals farm system at that time, 1936. And Branch Rickey said, "Oh, we don't want to lose him. He doesn't want to go to the minors. Um, you know, why don't you join the Major League Cardinals?" Yeah, but that was going to be sitting on the bench again and pinch hitting, and Byrd had already decided it was time to give pro golf a try. Um, I tried to research carefully and find the all the tournaments that he'd won, because I
Yeah, I
found an
guess 8
article
years of sitting on a
said
bench
he
can
won 23
finally
tournaments in his career,
wear you down.
which
But
ended
turning
in
to professional
1949.
golf, man, it
So
wasn't
from
the worst decision. After a
1937
slow start, he really got
to
it going.
1949,
You know,
he won
he
23
won a share
tournaments.
of
But
tournaments. What can you
you know,
tell
you look
us
at all
that
the
you
great
haven't
record
already
keeping
about
in
his
baseball. It
time
was not
on
easy
the
to
PGA
find the
Tour?
golf records. And
Yeah. I think of those 23, I think only 11 count as official PGA Tour wins. But man, he was a contender, like you said. He finished third in the Masters in 1941. He was second in the PGA in 1945. He did play in the U.S. Open a couple times. His best finish was 16th in 1939. And man, he beat some pretty big names in the tournaments he did win. And 1942, the Greater Greensboro Open, he finished ahead of Ben Hogan, and Lloyd Mangrum. In 43,
yeah,
he won the
I think you make a good
Chicago
point.
Victory
I think you
National
make a good
Open.
point. If he had
Uh,
focused on pro golf,
Finishing second was
his
Craig
pro
Wood, and he was
golf
5
career
strokes back of Byrd.
may have been
45, he beat Byron
spectacular.
Nelson with a course record
Hard
in
to
the
say,
Texas Open.
but
I mean,
just think of what a
this
talented
guy was
guy
good. And
to
as much as we sit here
excel
and wonder
in
how
both
good
baseball
he
and
could
golf,
have been had
and
he been a
but
full-time
unfortunately
baseball player, you also got to wonder
reached
how
the
good
pinnacle in
he could
either.
have been as a full-time golfer had he started in his 20s. What do you think about that?
I think he is still remembered today as perhaps the best golfer to come out of the pro baseball world. I've actually found quotes.
Nah, he
People
didn't.
still
That
remembering
really is
him and
unfortunate.
giving him that recognition.
Hey, Steve, when you look back at the career
but as you say,
or
he might have done even
careers
better if he
of
was just
Sam
focused on
Byrd,
golf and not.
if
and
somebody
not
came up to you
spent
and
the
said,
time on the
and I'm
baseball,
about to
but
do it, how should
there have
he be
been
remembered? Well, Steve,
many
how should
guys
Sam
who,
Byrd be remembered?
In pro baseball and pro football, who were great all-around athletes who tried their hand at pro golf and didn't do very well. And Byrd might have been the best of these guys in terms of his success in pro golf.
No doubt. Well, Steve, I want to thank you for taking some time to spend with me on Sports Forgotten Heroes. Your biography about Sam Byrd in the Sabre Bio Project was a wonderful recap of a really terrific career on the baseball diamond and on the golf links. And again, I want to say thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you, Warren. I enjoyed it very much.
For his career, Byrd hit .274, mostly as a part-time player. He slugged 38 home runs, drove in 220, had 101 doubles, and he hit 10 triples. In his lone season as a full-time starter, 1935, with the Cincinnati Reds, Byrd hit .262 with 9 home runs and 52 RBI. But the Reds had other plans for other ball players after that season, and Sam just finally gave up on baseball after 1936 and went to the PGA Tour full-time. Not a bad decision. Not a bad decision at all. I'd like to thank my guest, Stephen Rice, once again for spending some time with us, and thanks to all of you for taking the time to listen, and I look forward to seeing all of you again next time on Sports Forgotten Heroes.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings you sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with the retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.